The war ended for him on a cold morning that smelled like wet earth and burnt metal. It didn't end with a parade or a handshake or a clear sense of victory. It ended in a shallow trench, with his back pressed against mud-packed sandbags and his heart pounding so hard he thought it might give him away. His name was Daniel Harper, and he was 22 years old. He had been in uniform for almost 3 years by then, long enough for the excitement to wear off, long enough for fear to become a constant companion. At first, fear arrived in loud moments: explosions, gunfire, shouted orders. But as time passed, it settled into something quieter, a hum in the background. A weight in his chest that never fully lifted. That morning, the fog clung low to the ground. Visibility was poor, which should have been a relief, but it wasn't. Fog made everything worse. You couldn't see the danger until it was right on top of you. Daniel clutched his rifle, his gloves soaked through, his fingers numb. He tried to focus on his breathing the way he'd been taught: in through the nose, out through the mouth. He thought about his mother's kitchen back home in Ohio, the way sunlight hit the linoleum floor. The smell of coffee at dawn. Then the world exploded. The sound came first deafening, ripping through the fog. The ground shook beneath him. Someone screamed. Someone else stopped screaming too quickly. Daniel didn't remember moving, but suddenly he was firing, shouting, dragging a wounded soldier back toward cover. Training took over where thinking failed. Minutes blurred into hours, or maybe it was the other way around. Time lost all meaning. At some point, an order came down the line. A ceasefire. Not permanent, they said. Just temporary. But it was enough to make the shooting stop. Daniel slumped against the trench wall, his body shaking. His ears rang. His mouth tasted like copper. He looked down and realized his hands were covered in blood. Some of it his, most of it not. That was the last battle he ever fought. 2 weeks later, the papers were signed. The war was officially over. The radios crackled with the news and some men cheered. Others just sat quietly, staring at nothing. Daniel felt empty. Relieved, yes. But also strangely disconnected, as if the world had moved on without asking whether he was ready. When he came home, people told him he was lucky. You made it, they said. You're safe now, they said. It's over, they said. They were wrong. The war followed him home in small, unexpected ways. In the way he scanned every room for exits. He didn't tell them that sometimes standing in the quiet aisles, he could smell smoke that wasn't there. Daniel didn't talk about the war. Not really. He didn't talk about the friend who didn't make it back from that trench. He didn't talk about the moment he thought he was going to die. The split second where he wondered if anyone would remember him. He didn't talk about the guilt, the heavy, suffocating guilt of surviving when others hadn't. Years passed. The world moved forward. New headlines replaced old ones. Daniel got married. He had a daughter. He coached Little League. From the outside, his life looked complete. But memories don't care about time. They surfaced in flashes, the crack of a bat sounding too much like a rifle shot, the smell of fireworks on the 4th of July turning his stomach, the sight of fog rolling in on an early morning drive. His daughter once found him sitting on the edge of the bed, drenched in sweat, breathing hard. "Bad dream, Dad?" she asked. He just nodded and forced a smile. "Yeah, just a bad dream." The truth was harder to explain. The battle had ended the war for him in the official sense. No more orders, no more enemy lines, no more uniform. But it didn't end the memories. It didn't end the questions he asked himself in the dark. It didn't end the part of him that was still that young man in the trench, heart pounding, waiting for the next explosion. One day, at a local veterans meeting he almost didn't attend, Daniel heard another man speak. The man talked about fear, about guilt, about waking up every night for years. He talked about feeling broken and realizing he wasn't alone. Something in Daniel cracked open. For the first time he spoke, not all at once, not in detail. Just enough to let the weight shift. The memories didn't disappear. They probably never would, but they lost some of their power. Resources and support are available, and reaching out is a sign of strength. Thanks for watching.